All right, so welcome back to the Weight Escape. For this particular interview, I have Julie Kremenocker with us. And I've actually really been looking forward to this interview with Julie. She has a very unique experience, and you're a pharmacist, a
I am.
a mother of twins, and you have an incredible story that's kind of brought you where you are that we're going to get into. So I'd love it if you want to just jump in right away and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
All right. Well, thank you, Jen. Yeah, so I am a pharmacist. I'm a chef and a mother. And I I had fertility issues. I struggled with fertility for years, and it was actually because of my diet. It was because of what I ate, and I ate too much sugar. And the crazy thing is that I didn't know it. I truly thought I was healthy, and I did not know how much sugar was in the food, and even things that I thought were healthy actually were loaded with sugar. So I was getting so much sugar, and I had what's called polycystic ovaries, and it's kind of related to like diabetes and metabolic disorder. And so basically my ovaries were not making, good quality eggs. So yeah, so I went through all these fertility treatments. I had, I did shots, I had surgeries, I had all sorts of things. And actually during one surgery, the doctor hit an artery and I almost died. And I still remember, after the surgery, and I wasn't really waking up, and they're gonna take me back and try to stop the bleeding, and I'm just, I'm crying, my husband's crying, and just, I'm sitting here thinking, is this it? I'm never gonna be a mom, and this is it. But I changed my doctors, I changed my diet, and I did require fertility treatments, but I did have twins. And, it just, it's so amazing. I love being a mother, and um, always my dream. It was always my dream to have kids. And it just, it was so horrible that my diet was preventing me from achieving my dreams, my dreams of having a family.
So did you end up, like you were sort of just mentioning, but changing your diet to get pregnant? Was that like a big piece of it?
It was a big piece of it. I changed my diet to get pregnant, and then I also changed my diet once I had my kids, because I really started to look at what I was eating, and how much sugar was in the food. And I don't want my kids to be limited by their health like I was. And so, everything that I'm doing now, it's all about, teaching healthy food values to my children, so that healthy is just a way of life. It's not a constant struggle. Oh, I want to eat this, but I should eat this, and having just never knowing the burden of chronic disease. That's what I want for my kids.
Right. So I'm just gonna kind of ask you a question, and if we're gonna get into it, feel free to save the answer.
Sure.
But I know, you have a story about becoming a chef, but I'm thinking a lot of people listening to this are going, okay, yeah, I know sugar is an issue. Because like
Mhm.
you say, we all kind of do, but we don't always realize all these places that it's coming from. So I'm just going to throw you on the spot. And is there a couple areas where you were actually surprised? Like, as you said, I thought I ate healthy, that
Yeah.
you were surprised that sugar was coming from, that you actually thought you were making good choices.
Yes. There are so many places. So let me just kind of take you quickly through my day. I generally ate really healthy meals, um, but the big thing was the drinks. And so I would start off my morning with a naked juice. And I loved orange mango. So I'd have one of those little, like little bottles. And so that I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head, but I feel like that is like 50 grams of sugar. And because it's juice and they've removed the fiber, your body absorbs it just like, you're dumping a bunch of granular sugar into your cup. So on my way to work, I would grab a cafe mocha and a blueberry muffin from Starbucks. That cafe mocha has like 30 grams of sugar, and that blueberry muffin has, I think it's 33 or 34 grams of sugar. So going through my day, I mean, you think a blueberry muffin is healthy, and you think, those juices are healthy. Um, and I would go to work in the afternoon, I would hit a low and I would grab myself a Coke. And that is like 64, something like that, grams of sugar. Um, and, I'm not even mentioning like my meals, there's definitely things hidden in there. If I got a Cliff Bar, something that I thought was, it's for runners, right? You think that these things are, you think they're healthy, it's a protein bar. No, if you look at the ingredients, um, it is all sugar, syrups, all this stuff, all this sugar. Dinner, and then I'd have some dessert. I'd have, like some cookies or ice cream, and it adds up so fast. And the big thing with sugar is it's the added sugar, it's the extra sugar, it's the sugar without fiber. And so, yeah, so you add all of that up, and I was getting over 100 grams of sugar. You're supposed to have 24. That is the most added sugar in the entire day. And, me, coming from a healthcare standpoint, in school, we are always taught, this is how sugar is broken down. Your body, processes sugar. This is, sugar is good for you because, carbs, are all broken down into simple sugars, and that's, how your body gets energy. But getting too much, it spikes your blood sugar, it spikes your insulin, and that causes all sorts of problems. Not to get too scientific on you, but insulin is a fat storage hormone. So when you have high insulin levels, you're storing fat. You're also doing all sorts of other metabolic stuff. So long story short, I was getting way too much sugar, and, I mean, that the cookies and ice cream, that's not good. It's the other stuff that you think a blueberry muffin, you might say, oh, it's a little sweet, but you don't realize that that's more sugar than you should have an entire day. So, and that's not healthy.
I love that you mentioned that, though, because I think there are a lot of us, that are guilty of that, of thinking, we're making these really great choices, and just from the lack of knowledge or understanding, because, like you say, you learned in school, but when you look back to high school and you look back to things like that, maybe there's some basic nutrition, but nobody really explains how those pieces work. So when we go out into the world, and like you say, the naked juice is advertised as being healthy, we just trust it. And we don't think about like what actually happens to make that juice. And like you say, there's no fiber left.
Right, exactly.
Well, and you think you're making these great choices. And when you don't know, you don't know.
Exactly. And, you think that, you think fruit, it's healthy, and it is. Fruit is absolutely healthy. But when you're taking the fiber away, now you're taking the health factor away. And yeah, it's crazy.
So I'm gonna just kind of steer us back, though. Is this what brought you to being a chef?
So I went, yeah, I went to culinary school really for fun. I went because, when my kids were young, and I was, I had made this decision that, you know, my priority is going to be having healthy kids. And I wanted healthy food to taste amazing. And healthy food does not always taste good. And so, if I want my kids to choose, you know, spinach and mushroom omelet over Pop-Tarts, it's going to have to taste great. And I mention that because that's actually my son's favorite breakfast. So yeah, healthy food, it has to taste good. And so, you can learn stuff here and there online, but you know, I wanted to learn from the masters. I wanted to be an expert. I wanted to know everything that I could so that, I could really just make amazing food and, and have my kids love it.
Yeah, and that's like I love that because we were talking earlier. I have teenage boys, but that is the catch. Like it has to taste good, or they're not going to eat it. And we're not that different than kids. Like we'd like to think we are, but I mean, let's get real. If it doesn't taste good, we don't like to eat it either.
Oh, I absolutely will not eat stuff. I'm super picky. Oh, my poor mother. That's all I can say. But yeah, I mean, if it doesn't taste good, I'm not going to eat it. I mean, I'd rather go to bed hungry than eat something that I don't like. Um, yeah, it has to taste good.
So what is the secret then to making healthy food taste good?
Well, that actually is a great question. I have a little free guide that I'm going to give out all about that, but some, just basic things about flavor. It is a sensory experience. We eat with all of our senses, and we don't even think about it. You think about the crunch of a potato chip, the smell. You think about walking through the mall and smelling like the Cinnabon, and just that cinnamon sweet flavor, is wafting through the air. The sizzle of fajitas as they come out. You eat with all of your senses. And so one thing about making food taste amazing is, it has to look good. It has to feel good in your mouth. Like the texture has to be good. Is it supposed to have a crunch? If it is supposed to have a crunch and it's soggy, that's not right. Even if whatever tastes on your tongue is, tastes good, all these other things can come into it. And, we always say that our first taste is with our eyes. We look at something and we're making judgments. That's good or that's bad. And, we're supposed to. We were designed to do that because, long, long ago, if we ate something that was bad, we could die.
Right. So how does that work for dieting then? Like if we're worried about not worried, but if we're taking into account like how things look and how they feel and how they taste and whether there's a crunch or not, how does that
Yeah.
work for those of us that are like, okay, I'm trying to actually watch what I eat and get more confident in making food that tastes great, but that actually serves my body?
Yeah. Well, there's very simple things that you can do that is going to, elevate the flavor. So thinking about, first of all, what diet or health priorities you have. So, you know, there's so many different diets out there and all of them have, different foods that they're allowed to eat and whatever. So, thinking about what are you allowed to have and what's going to add flavor. So big thing is, seasonings. It's having things that are going to add. So you want to add on flavors. Thinking about aromatics like garlic and onions. Making sure to, if you're able to in the recipe, saute those or saute them ahead of time so that you have all that developed flavor. Adding acid. Acid has brightness, and adding just like this little bit of acid at the end, that could be, citrus, it could be vinegar, but adding that little pop of brightness, it just adds like, so much excitement to your dish, some crunch. So like, if you don't have a nut allergy, like some slivered almonds or, some other nuts to add a little bit of crunch at the end. There's so many things that you can do. Another big thing is fat, and I grew up in a time when fat is bad. And we need fat. We need fat, but we need healthy fat. Another thing is a lot of fat is inflammatory. So having healthy fat, adding that healthy, delicious fat, like olive oil, avocados, coconut, stuff like that, it adds a richness. So many things that we can do to just, make our food taste amazing. But, a lot of that depends on what is your diet? What are you, are you, if you're doing low fat, that's going to be, tough to add, a lot of fat in. Although I will mention that we absolutely need fat. So even if you have a low fat diet, you absolutely have to have some.
So I can see how passionate you are. With
Yes,
even
food is my passion.
I could tell. Is this why you started New Healthy Family? And what is that? Because I know what it
Yeah.
is. Not
So my company is New Healthy Family. And so I actually started New Healthy Family because of my best friend. So I had gone to culinary school and I'm all passionate about healthy food and making it taste good. And my best friend, she came out to visit me and she was so depressed. She was on this new diet and it was a low carb diet, and she was a high carb girl. She loved carbs, and she just did not like anything she was allowed to eat. And she just, she was counting down the days until she could lose her weight, get off the diet, and go back to eating what she wanted because she would have met her goal. And anyway, she came out to visit me, and I said, okay, we're only going to cook things that are on your diet. And you are going to like them. We are going to find a way that you are going to like them. So, we did. We cooked stuff, and so it was crazy. She lost 6 pounds in 5 days. And yeah, that is crazy. But not only that, she learned all these new techniques and ideas. So for instance, she hated eggs. She did not want to eat eggs for breakfast, and she's on low carb. So, that's no muffins, that's no oatmeal. She used to get fruit maple oatmeal from McDonald's drive-through, 54 grams of sugar, by the way. Um, so, what are you going to do? So I introduced her to the frittata, super easy. You can make them into muffins. And adding so much flavor that you're not tasting just the egg, you're tasting all the other stuff. And so, she's carried that with her, and she makes eggs every morning now. And so, yeah, so it's because of my friend that I started my company. So she left and she told me, Julie, this is what you need to be doing, not pharmacy. You need to be doing this because this is amazing. Doctors will tell you, you need to go on this diet, you need to do this, but they don't tell you how to do it. They don't help you. And, you're just given this list of stuff that you are allowed to eat, and it's overwhelming. So then what do? You go comb the internet and try to find recipes that fit, but nothing fits exactly. So, having this, basic knowledge about what do I like? What can I add into this dish that I'm going to love? How can I make it work for me? How can I make it work for my family? Because, we don't exist in a vacuum. Even if you want to lose weight and you're dieting, if you have a family, you have to cook for them too, so things have to work for your family as well. So long story short, I started New Healthy Family because of my friend. She inspired me, and, I'm so passionate about this. I'm so passionate about, food and making food delicious. And, I truly want to help people. This is the caregiver in me. This is the mom in me. This is the pharmacist, I want to help people. And so, taking my message out, to a broader audience and, sharing this and hopefully helping people learn from my wake up call and not having to have your own, right? That I ate too much sugar. Too much sugar is bad. Start looking and don't wait until, you have some sort of health issue that are forced to change.
And I know you have your own personal story, but you also have a story within your family with your son.
I do.
And I would love to hear a
Yeah,
little bit. I know it's going to be
yeah,
challenging, but I would love to hear a little bit about that because, like you say, you said when you started is if you can help somebody not have to go through that, or like that preventative
Exactly.
thing, or as parents, if we can kind of help our kids by setting them up for success, because the food we do serve them does play a part in their lives.
Yes. And it's all I can say is that food is so important. It is so important. So this is a little difficult for me. My son Jack, almost a year ago, was diagnosed with leukemia. And um, so ever since he's born, I've been all about, low sugar, healthy food. And I've been, pounding this into my kids. And um, the healthy diet, it saved his life. Um, I'm sorry, it's so hard to talk about this even now, almost a year later, and he's doing great. He's doing great. Um, so, leukemia, it is cancer. Cancer loves sugar. Cancer loves sugar. And one of the um, prognostic factors with leukemia is your leukemic count, how many leukemic cells there are at diagnosis. And anything under 50,000 has a really good prognosis. Anything over 50,000, it puts you in a higher risk and you have a worse prognosis. His count was 14,000. And I'm sorry.
Great.
I know it was the low sugar diet. I know it was that helped him have an amazing prognosis. So cancer loves sugar. And actually in healthcare, they use radioactive sugar to track cancer growth. It's a PET scan. And so, if you're not getting tons of sugar, you're not feeding cancer. I can't imagine what my life would be like if I had not heard that wake up call with my fertility issues. And if I hadn't, gone down this route, if I hadn't gone down this route and, if I had not been so adamant about my kids being healthy.
I know this is hard, and I just want to say I really appreciate your vulnerability, because I'm sure there's many listeners to this that had no idea there was a correlation between cancer and sugar. Like none. Like, how do we know that? It's not like they teach that. Um,
Exactly.
we shouldn't have to get to a point where we're in the middle of it to learn that.
Exactly. And if my message could save one person, I would be so happy.
I do really respect and appreciate your vulnerability, because I think that's so important that people hear that. And it's so
Thank you.
important for us to get that wake up call in prevention too, right? Like, we
Exactly.
may not be able to change pieces of it, but there's a lot we can change.
Yeah.
There's a
And
lot we can control.
you can't change your genes. You can't change, your genetics. And unfortunately, we have cancer on both sides of our family. I never would have guessed that my child would have cancer. You can't change your genes, but you can change how that affects you. You can change the outcome. And, being healthy, it's the most important thing. And, one thing I'd like to add is that we always we always think there's tomorrow. We always think, oh, I'm just gonna do this real quick. I'm just gonna run through McDonald's just this one time because I'm running late. We always think we can start tomorrow. And someday tomorrow catches up with you and it's too late. I hope that everyone can, learn from my wake up call and and really see if I hadn't taken that wake up call for what it was, I don't even want to think about what would happen, what my life would be like right now.
I think that's a deeply impactful statement. Don't wait. Mm. I mean, I know there's a bit of a in the nutrition field and in the fitness and diet field of, oh, I'll start Monday. I'll start Monday. And I think it's so important what you have to say because too many Mondays go by.
Exactly. Exactly. Yep. And tomorrow's today.
Today. So I just think I'm going to end it here because I think you just summed up everything so perfectly, right, in just that last little statement. I don't know if I'm missing anything else or if there's anything else you do want to say, but that just seems such a perfect way to end.
Oh, I I agree. I think, bottom line is you absolutely cannot wait. And I guess one other thing I'd like to say is that you you want to lose weight, but really you want to be healthy. Being healthy is the most important. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And it's something that it's a lot harder to fix later than it is to prevent now. So, starting now and just taking those tiny baby steps. Think about your kids when they were walking. Most of us or most of our kids didn't, their first step wasn't running across the room. It was, a teeny little baby step and they fell down, and you fall down, you get back up. Just taking tiny little steps towards health, just making one little healthier choice, it is going to have a huge impact. It's going to give you so much more results than doing everything for a short period of time.
That's such a good way to put it. Stop trying to do everything at once and just one step and just keep taking steps and keep taking steps. And even if you fall down, it's okay. Just get back up and keep taking steps.
Exactly. It's about perseverance. It's about, sustaining it. And, just every time, you're taking a bite, thinking about, is this adding to my health or is it taking away? And trying to make healthier choices. We're not perfect. We can't be healthy 100% of the time. We can't, adhere to a diet 100% of the time. But, if it tastes good, and especially if it's easy, if we can, make food that tastes good and it's easy, it's a lot easier to sustain.
Totally. Well, thank you so much for your time and your share. I know I'm deeply touched by it. So I know others will be too. So those of you listening, we will make sure to have all of Julie's information for you, website, social media contact. If she said anything that resonated with you, please feel free to reach out. Obviously she's very passionate about what she does, and I trust that you'll be in good hands. So thank you so much for your time, Julie.
Oh, thank you so much.